There's breaking news coming in. We are getting the first reaction of the Indian Navy on the sinking of the Iranian warship, the frigate Iris Dana, off the coast of Sri Lanka. The Indian Navy's first reaction is now in, and I want to quote, the Indian Navy in a statement says a distress call was received from Iris Dana, and this was received at the MRCC in Colombo in the early hours of the 4th of March 2026. As already reported by the Sri Lankan Navy, the ship was operating 20 nautical miles west of Galle in the Sri Lankan area, in the area of Sri Lanka's responsibility. On receipt of this information, the Indian Navy promptly launched its SAR, or search and rescue efforts. It commenced with the long-range maritime patrol aircraft being launched at 1000 hours on the 4th of March 2026 to augment the search and rescue efforts being undertaken by the Sri Lankan Navy. Another aircraft with air-droppable rafts was kept on standby for immediate deployment. INS Tarangini, which was operating in the vicinity, was deployed for aiding the relief and rescue operations and arrived in the general area, the search area, by 1600 hours on 4th of March 2026. And by this time, SAR, or search and rescue operations, had been undertaken by the Sri Lankan Navy and other agencies. INS Ikshak. Now, INS Ikshak has also sailed from Kochi to augment the search efforts and continues to remain in the area to search for missing personnel as a humanitarian measure for the shipwrecked personnel. Coordination with Sri Lankan side on search and rescue operations is ongoing even now. At sea, there is a massive escalation. So far I've got you the statement of the Indian Navy, and right now the other big story is this massive escalations that's taking place in the war between Iran and Israel and the United States on the other side. An Iranian remote-controlled explosive boat. So this is virtually like a UAV of the seas, if I may. A remote-controlled explosive boat targeted a crude oil tanker in Iraqi waters, marking the first such attack on a vessel in Iraq's exclusive economic zone since the beginning of these operations 6 days ago. There's a massive spike in tensions. The Israeli army says it's completed the 12th wave. The Israeli armed forces, the Israeli Air Force, the army, they've completed the 12th wave of their strikes on Tehran, targeting the headquarters of Iran's Special Internal Security Units. This is in the Alborz province, along with targeting the Basij militia, the bases of Basij and internal security units of Iran. Iran has said in the past 6 days they've lost 1,200 people, including 175 young school-going girls and their teachers, killed in a massive strike, a missile strike that hit a school in Milan. In Israel, at least 11 people have been killed in Iranian missile attacks, and the United States has confirmed so far 6 American personnel are dead in the fighting that started 6 days ago. The war is also now spilling across the region. Lebanon has reported 77 lives lost in Israeli strikes, and these are missile strikes and air strikes. Casualties have also been reported now in Bahrain, in Kuwait, in Oman, and in the United Arab Emirates following drone strikes, missile strikes. They've been intercepted, but debris falling has claimed some lives. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps claims, and this is a big claim that's been made by Iran, word just coming in, Iran claims it has shot down a US Air Force F-16E Striking Eagles fighter jet, a claim that the United States has flatly denied, calling it Iran's propaganda. The conflict is now threatening to widen further. Azerbaijan has accused Iran of a drone strike in which civilians have been injured, and this is a drone strike in an autonomous region of Azerbaijan at an airport. So this just shows the wide arc of this battle, and I quickly want to bring in my colleague Sandeep Unnithan for more on the story. Sandeep, the first reaction that comes in from the Indian Navy on the sinking of the Iranian frigate Iris Dana that was returning after that Milan exercise. Indian Navy's joined the rescue operations, but finding anyone alive now is virtually perhaps next to impossible.
Yes, Gaurav, and you know, that's the nature of submarine warfare. The fact that the ship was torpedoed late at night, early in the morning, actually at 5 a.m. On the yesterday. And the Sri Lankan Navy was the closest to the scene, and they rushed to the rescue, and they've rescued the 30-odd crew of the Iris Dana. And now it is the Indian Navy that was a little distance away. The Indian coastline is about 300 kilometers away from this region, from Galle. So it's clearly the Indian Navy was on standby, because that SOS, that distress signal of the IRIS Dana would have been picked up by several navies in the region, and the navy that was closest would have responded, which was the Sri Lankan Navy, Gaurav.
Indeed. Was there anything else that India could have done? Because there are many questions that are now being raised. The Iranian ship had come for the International Fleet Review in India. It then stayed back for an exercise, Milan, and then was on its way back. The ship was on her way back. It was in international waters off the coast of Sri Lanka. Is there anything that India could have done differently?
Not really, Gaurav. I mean, this is a full-scale war between Iran and the United States, and India is there. It's a neighbor in the vicinity, and you know, if there was, God forbid, another ship to go down, a United States vessel was targeted by the Iranians. If you look at it the other way around, India would do exactly the same. It would extend a search and rescue mission to go and locate those things, as we've done in the past. Now, this vessel was in international waters. It was far away from Indian territorial waters. It was in the jurisdiction of the Sri Lankan waters. EEZ, near the Sri Lankan EEZ, when it was targeted. There's very little that India could have done. Yes, we are the largest navy in the region, and but that does not mean that other navies will take our permission before launching military operations, which they deem in their national interest. In the case of the United States, which is waging a full-on war with Iran, and they've targeted several such warships across the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea, Gaurav. I mean, there's something like 20 vessels that have been down in very similar circumstances. There have been the Soleimani catamaran that was knocked out. All of these had crew on board and in the vicinity of several other nations. And yes, the point does remain that India is the main naval force in the region. It's the largest navy in the region. But when two countries have decided to shoot at each other, there's a full-scale war going on. There's very little that the Indian Navy could do except render assistance to the sides.
Big story coming in, and Sandeep, I want you to stay in with me on this big message that the United States of America is sending out.